Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my Loki Season 2 Top 10 Predictions video. There's so much stuff that they set up, so many teasers, and the Marvel people have been talking about how this is all going to weave through Marvel Phase 4, the movies, and the other Disney Plus series, so we'll break it all down. I will be doing videos for Marvel's What If, that's going to be starting in a couple weeks, and it'll sort of build on the craziness of all this multiverse stuff that's happening at the end of Loki Season 1. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I'm still doing the giveaway for Disney Plus memberships. All you have to do to enter is just be a subscriber and leave all your predictions for Season 2 on the video. Careful for spoilers for everything that happened during Loki Season 1 if you have not seen those episodes yet. But just starting with number 10, Loki Season 2 will be released between the events of Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness and Ant-Man 3 Quantumania, both in the Marvel Phase 4 timeline, but also in real world too, like physically releasing episodes before they release Ant-Man 3. Part of the reason for that is because Doctor Strange 2 is literally coming out in March. There's no way that they can film Loki Season 2 and get episodes out before Doctor Strange 2 comes. And it's been widely reported that Tom Hiddleston's Loki is going to show up during Doctor Strange 2. So that's also part of my predictions here that I'll talk about in a second. But the whole idea is that at the end of the finale, they teased that while Loki was traveling back to the TVA, the timeline restarted, reset, so to speak, like He Who Remains, Kang was talking about. Another multiverse war eventually broke out in the 31st century. This same version of Nathaniel Richards, He Who Remains, eventually rose up, but because the statue of Kang at the TVA is different, it implies that another Kang won that war and made his own timeline the dominant one, isolated it just like our version of He Who Remains told us. Like things played out very similarly, it was just another version of Kang that wound up creating the TVA. And now Loki doesn't know whether he's evil or good or another manic Willy Wonka version of the character like our version. In part of Season 2, we'll be figuring that out. Like, how is this new Kang different from the one that we just met, and will he try to stop Loki from sorting this mess out? So Loki kind of just got a spoiler for the end of the next multiverse war, and now it's his job to try and sort everything out, try and fix things and restore his original timeline some way. Number 9, next big prediction. There will be a time jump between the end of Season 1 and the beginning of Season 2, Episode 1, just to denote that our Loki has already been on this new journey to try and sort everything out. Like I said, there have been reports that Tom Hiddleston is going to show up as Loki during Doctor Strange 2. They didn't say how much or exactly what he'd be doing during that, although I think it's kind of implied what he's going to be doing. But I think it's implied that it would be our version of Loki that we've been following on the Loki series this whole time. An early prediction, probably pretty safe prediction, he's going to try and warn Doctor Strange about the multiverse war, the Kang war that's coming. And hopefully they'll use it as another instance of Marvel giving Loki a Hulk scene. It all started with Iron Man in that first Avengers movie, "We have a Hulk." Then in Avengers Infinity War, they flipped it, they gave Loki the line, who says it to Thanos, "We have a Hulk." And also, during Infinity War, it was Hulk who came to warn Doctor Strange of the coming threat of Thanos. Now it seems like it would be Loki to get that Hulk-type scene, and he'll be the one crashing the Sanctum with a TemPad this time, shouting about someone else coming. Thousands of versions of someone terrible is coming. Because remember, he doesn't know the name Kang, he just knows this person as He Who Remains and technically Nathaniel Richards. I don't think they're actually going to call one of the variants Kang until we get to either Doctor Strange 2 or Ant-Man 3, and probably not till Ant-Man 3. Like, the idea is that Kang will not be the villain of Doctor Strange 2. It'll be some other core Doctor Strange villain like Shumagorath or some other extra-dimensional being. But while Doctor Strange 2 is going on, there'll still be the threat of this multiversal war that plays out in the future for them, but in the past for Loki, because Loki jumped to the end of it, basically. Remember, the TVA does not get created till one of the Kangs wins the multiversal war, and he uses the TVA to ensure the sanctity of his sacred timeline. That's why we say Loki got the spoiler for the end of the war when he went back to the TVA. Number 8, next big prediction. At the beginning of Season 2, Loki will be working with this new version of Mobius, Hunter B-15, the other new slightly different versions of the TVA people to try and fix what he and Sylvie messed up, unleashing all the Kang variants and changing the timeline, so to speak. But technically, they didn't change the original MCU timeline. That still exists. It's just the notion that this version of Kang, who won the multiversal war, it's implied, just sublimated the original MCU timeline when he made his own original timeline the dominant one. So Marvel didn't just completely destroy the original timeline of the Marvel movies. They're not going to completely retcon everything you just watched through Avengers Endgame. I think they'll explain that it still exists out there as its own universe, and Loki here will be fighting to save it and get back to his version of Mobius that was his friend and eventually find Sylvie again. And also as part of that, number 7, at the beginning of season 2, separately we'll find out what happened to Sylvie after she killed this version of He Who Remains Kang. Early prediction though is that she just used her TemPad to flee to another apocalypse event to hide out again, but when she arrived there, she probably found the same thing that Loki found at this new version of the TVA. Everything was different. Oh crap. And she'll also try to clean up her mess she created and be on her own hero arc, similar to what our Loki was on during season 1. Number 6, another early prediction, Loki and Sylvie won't be reunited again right away. Like, they won't see each other again till either like the cliffhanger at the end of episode 1 or till a little bit later in the season. But for the most part, pretty much every character from season 1 is coming back in season 2. But number 5, because most people are probably wondering, most of the major Loki variants will also probably be back in season 2 in some form or another. And on top of that, they will do more funny alternate versions of Loki from the comics. For instance, Kid Loki, Alligator Loki, both confirmed alive inside the Void at the end of episode 5. Alligator Loki was probably one of the most popular characters on the show. Even Tom Hiddleston was saying that he bows to Alligator Loki. Like, who is the superior Loki? Oh, clearly Alligator Loki is the superior Loki. So he's a pretty easy slam dunk to bring back for some funny scenes. And I'm hoping that they'll continue to keep the Jack Veal Kid Loki around and eventually use him when they're ready to do some full-blown Young Avengers stuff in the MCU. I don't know if they plan to bring classic Loki Richard E. Grant back because his sacrifice felt like such a great moment for his character, but they could bring him back as another different version of Loki, another older version of Loki, because Richard E. Grant is fantastic and it sounds like he had a lot of fun doing the series. You guys can let me know in the comments which other alternate versions of Loki you want to see them use during season 2. Maybe because they got rid of those King Loki scenes, they'll also do some more King Loki during season 2. But number 4 prediction, there will still probably only be 6 episodes in season 2. Marvel seems like they're kind of locked into that model for the larger, more expensive series. Either the episodes are like 20 minutes long and they do 9 episodes, or the episodes are 40 minutes plus long and they only do 6 episodes. Hopefully they'll find a way to either save some money to get some extra episodes out, or they'll just be willing to spend a little bit more money and make them 8 episodes minimum. But it feels like, at least for the next couple of years, it'll either be like 6 episodes or 9 episodes, or in the case of the Marvel What If series, I believe there's supposed to be 10 episodes. But if you're wondering why there are so few episodes of some of these series like Falcon and Winter Soldier was only 6 episodes, some of the upcoming Marvel Disney Plus series like Moon Knight are only going to be 6 episodes, it's mostly because of the amount of money that they spend on each episode and how long they are. So the only time when they do a ton of episodes is when the episodes themselves are very, very short. But just in terms of how they pace the episodes out during Loki Season 2, it'll probably be very similar to Season 1. But the advantage going into Season 2 is that they've already done the work of introducing the concept of the TVA, time travel, variants, the multiverse, so they don't have to spend all of their Season 2 Episode 1 explaining that again to everyone. So they kind of have an extra episode worth of time to spend on actual plot during Season 2. But number 3, just talking more about Kang, He Who Remains, obviously the big main villain heading into Marvel Phase 4 now. We will probably not see the same Kang, the same He Who Remains character from Season 1 again. But Jonathan Majors will probably play a much larger role. He'll probably be in more actual episodes as this new Kang variant who's controlling this version of the TVA. Because this time, at least in this timeline, the statue implies that there's no mystery about the Timekeepers. I feel like that's what they're trying to tell us here. Like, this version of Kang won the multiverse war, created the TVA, and then just told everyone the truth. I'm in charge, I'm your time god, do what I say. And it's part of Renslayer's story because she was heading off to find a version of Kang at the end of Season 1. When they do a lot more Kang stuff during Season 2, she'll be alongside that version of Kang. And it'll just be them doing another big deep cut from the comics for their relationship. I don't know if Jonathan Majors would be in every single episode, but because the secret is out, so to speak, about who is behind all this, who the big threat is, they'll probably at least reference him in every single episode and his variants in this multiverse war. Number 2, they'll also probably cover a lot of the material from the deleted scenes that didn't make it into Season 1 because of timing and the virus shutdowns. Primarily, more backstory on Renslayer in service of establishing her relationship with Kang, or a version of Kang, we should say. More of her relationship with Mobius, her backstory with him, their friendship, and just more Mobius backstory in general. Everyone was kind of disappointed they didn't pay off that jet ski during Season 1. They implied that because of the way the TVA is made up of variants, that he was so obsessed with jet skis in the 90s because that's where the TVA picked him up. He's from the 90s. We'll also probably get a little more backstory from some of the other side characters too, like Hunter B-15, and early prediction, maybe even Casey. Remember Casey, always wincing at the sight of Loki like, oh god, not you again, stealing my juice box now. If you rewatch the ending scene from episode 6 when Loki goes back and everyone's running around going crazy, if you listen really carefully, you can hear Casey's voice on the intercom inside that new version of the TVA claiming that he's reporting to the armory. So it sounds like this different timeline version of Casey is a full-blown hunter, like a more badass version of Casey. Just as a funny twist on the meek version from season 1 who didn't know what fish were. In number 1, really big early prediction here, if they do get all the Loki Season 2 episodes out before Ant-Man 3 Quantumania, they will not end the season with Loki and Sylvie Mobius defeating Kang and fixing the multiverse war. Like, Season 2 will not end with them completely unscrewing their mess. Things will still be in utter chaos. And regardless of whether or not Ant-Man 3 comes out before or after Loki Season 2, also during that movie, they probably will not completely defeat all the Kang variants. Like, it's implied that a version of Kang during that movie will be a different version, like the true version of Kang who fought the Avengers in all the classic comics. But there's supposed to be infinite versions of him coming, making him the next Thanos-level Avengers threat in Marvel Phase 4. So early theory, too, both the Ant-Man characters in that movie and the Loki characters on the Loki series will handle some of the versions of Kang, but they won't completely defeat the threat of the infinite Kang, to make a Rick and Morty reference, the infinite Rick, the idea that there are infinite versions out there. Till we get to Avengers 5 in a sort of Secret War style multiverse movie, because that's kind of the promise of this multiverse war that they just tease, that we'll actually see that play out in a big movie. But paying off more Secret War stuff during Avengers 5 sounds like it'll be Marvel's way of sort of holding off on doing major Galactus stuff till even later, because I think we all expect Marvel to use Galactus as another future Thanos-level big bad. But before Loki started getting into all this multiversal war stuff, I would have said that they would have waited till Avengers 6 to do a Secret War storyline. But now it seems like they're implying they're going to roll really hard on that way faster than everyone expected. So let me know in the comments, do you think that Loki Season 2 and Ant-Man 3 Quantumania will help them build up to an Avengers 5 Secret War style movie? There's a big Kang video that I'm still working on. I'll post that tomorrow, and my Marvel What If episodes are going to start in a couple weeks, so make sure you have alerts enabled for my channel so you don't miss any of those. And I'll name a giveaway winner when I post my next Marvel video. Everyone click here to learn about the Loki finale alternate ending, alternate post-credit scenes, and more deleted scenes, and click here for my full Loki Episode 6 finale video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys tonight.